Hi, I'm Doug Turner, your host of Building Paradise. And Building Paradise is a show where we try to give you good information about custom home building and remodeling in the 30A area. Our guests are architects, designers, material manufacturers and suppliers, tradesmen, and material providers, and many others. We've got several episodes that we filmed so far, and I'd love for you to go back and take a look at them. Some really good information. This episode is being filmed in a custom home in Watersound Origins, very close to the 30A area. And if you haven't seen Watersound Origins, it's a St. Joe development community that's going to have over 100,000 rooftops. My guest for this episode is Jason Coleman of J.M. Huber Industries. They are a really big company, worldwide company, and I have a few notes here that are really interesting that I want to share with you about the company. J.M. Huber was founded in 1883 by a gentleman by the name of Joseph Huber. Currently, their annual sales revenue is $2.2 billion. It's one of the largest privately held companies in the United States. J.M. Huber has 4,300 team members. They're in 20 countries, and in those 20 countries, they're in 50 locations throughout the world. And just recently, Deloitte named Huber one of the best managed companies in the country. So we're here today, and we're going to talk about what J.M. Huber does here. It's the engineered wood division of J.M. Huber Industries. On 30A, we're using the zip wallboard systems and some Advantech plywood for structural framing and water prevention treatment. And Jason's going to share with us today some good information about this system.
Absolutely. So first off, thank you for inviting us out here. We appreciate it. It's a great area to have a house in. So J.M. Huber, like you said, was founded in 1883. We've evolved over the years and diversified into 4 different branches. We have a wood division, which is who I work for, Engineered Woods, Huber Engineered Woods. We're based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And then we have some chemical additive companies and a timber company, and some of those are based out of Atlanta. And so we diversify, and what we're big on is innovation and the evolution of innovation and being creative. And what Huber asks us to do is to be creative in what we do every day. And part of that's about our main principles. It's about being ethical, being respectful, and bringing excellence to everything you do. And that's why we feel like, and we are one of the largest family-owned businesses, that's part of our culture, and that's across the board. When you meet someone with Huber, it's all about getting things done and making sure your customer is happy. And it's a big part of, it's really the main part of what we're really trying to do every day. Okay,
so right now we're filming inside one of our new homes by Turner Legacy Homes. This home is about 3,700 square feet. It's a big 2-story house. Has a lot of mass, and so structural integrity was very important.
Sure.
And I'm going to start off by how I got really interested in the zip system was when you sent me the videos of testing a building wrap system, which you normally see that's made by several different companies that make the building wrap, where it's basically like a paper that's taped and wrapped around the building. We've all seen it. And then the zip wallboard system, which is an all-in-one system that's waterproof from day one. And I saw a video, and it showed the 2 systems being built, and Huber put a 30-mile-an-hour, I think, synthetic rainstorm on the 2 systems for a full day. At the end of the day, it was turned around, and on the paper wrap system, or the building wrap, as they call it, was soaked on the inside, and the zip system was dry. At that point, you had my interest.
Sure.
And so from that point on, I've used the zip wallboard system because it's all about water protection and prevention of intrusion. So let's talk about the zip system. Why did it come about? And tell us about how well it's taken off and some things like that, as far as why would you want to take a look at zip wall systems today?
Yeah, and I would say we should start with Advantech, that came out 25 years ago. Advantech is our subfloor, and we invented Advantech as a specialty product. We made some changes to our company 25 years ago, adjusted to the market, and decided we wanted to make a high performance panel that can perform underneath every weather condition, whether it's ice, snow, rain, which we get a lot of here. It protects you from any type of issues that typical wood would have, which would be delamination, edge swell, potential for mold rot. So that started our journey. And then 2006 came around, and that's when Zip System was created. So it has the same technology in it as our Advantech subfloor to help you against getting moisture behind that wrap, because it's fused to the panel. You have a structural panel, so you have a stronger wall, so we talk about structural integrity. And then on top of that, it provides a 30-year warranty. So you're the only thing in the market, only product in the market that can offer all these things, protecting the build during high rain, because it has to be taken care of.
So let's talk about when it comes to installation of the building wrap system versus the zip, and how it's nailed, and go over the taping.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
why that works.
Yeah, so typically in previous years, and still today, the typical installation is wood, an OSB panel or plywood panel, which is a 4x8 sheet. And then you nail that up, and then the installer comes back with some type of house wrap, which we call a WRB, a weather-resistant barrier. The issues we've run into, or we've seen, is that wood, before it can get the wrap on it, is degraded from the weather, where the panels delaminate, they edge swell, and they probably should be pulled off. But what we've seen is they stay on, and then house wrap's put on there. And then before they can get siding on, water still can get behind that house wrap and still affect the structure. So Zip System, sheathing and tape.
Let me pause you just for a second, because I want to throw something in that's important that you said, and that's the time that you're waiting for that system. Because when you nail up the sheathing, you have to bring the structural engineer out, and he has to inspect the nails and make sure they're put in there properly.
Absolutely.
So you've got a delay there. And then typically when we're building, as far as just talking about process, we don't put the siding on the house until all the mechanical rough ends are completed and all the protrusions through the outside of the building are done, so those can be properly sealed. So you could be, in a custom home like this, you could be weeks with house wrap. And when I was using house wrap, I would notice that it would come apart. We'd have storms, and it'd rip it off the building, and you'd have to go back and replace the plywood and replace the house rack.
So it goes back to why Zip System, why you switched, is that you don't have those issues anymore. So the overlay is fused to the panel. That's your weather-resistant barrier, your WRB, and it's an air barrier. So in addition to all those things we talk about the house wrap, it can't tear off. You have less issues with it, with delamination and edge swell, and just issues with protecting the wood. It's protected through the build cycle. And on top of that, the homeowner will enjoy a much more energy efficient house, because you're managing the air that's coming in the house. You're restricting so much air coming in, so you actually have a healthier house. So your indoor air is much better.
That's great. And talk about the taping process, the wet sealing process.
So what we do is, typically what the installer would do is you would nail up the panel, and then come back and you run our 3 3/4 inch acrylic tape, and then you roll the tape with a roller, basically like a paint roller, and that seals the seams, so it protects the seams. And then what you've done is you've gone, we call it almost like Zip System 1.5, you've gone over and beyond what's part of our warranty. You've actually gone and liquid flashed the nail heads in the field. So you've actually created an even more tighter house, which is going to be more efficient than any other house in this area.
So I know in your system, the nails in the field, which is basically you have to put them every like 4 to 6 inches apart. It's a lot of nails. And
Correct.
the zip system, when we first started using, we understood that it was a self-sealing proposition when it happened. But you have to be careful not to make sure the gun is tuned up too high so you're not overdriving the nails.
Correct. What we'd like to see is a flush nail, but we understand through testing that where we see issues, if it's halfway or all the way through the panel, that's where we'd want a piece of tape or liquid flash over it. What we really worry about is the structural integrity of the panel. So if all the nails are overdriven, then now you've taken a large percentage of the strength of the panel out. So what you're doing is really impressive. You've really gone over and beyond what a typical builder would do to protect your house.
Yeah, that's our goal, is we want it to be really sealed up tight.
Yeah.
And recently we've started using the roof decking zip system. And it's the same reason, because while you're waiting on inspections and things like that, and you get bad weather, the plywood can delaminate. So that's that, and it's been just an awesome system. Our clients love the zip wall system. They feel really protected when they see this going up on the house. And so now I want to kind of switch and talk about Advantech subflooring, because there's issues there with structural integrity and water protection. Because I can tell you, in this house, when we put it down before we had the roof on, we had one of these really big rains.
Yep.
And the next day, water was everywhere, and there was nothing you can do about it because you don't have a roof on a house.
Right.
And so I think according to your instructions, we went and drilled holes in certain places around, drained it out, and when we walk upstairs, you'll see that it looks like nothing ever happened.
Absolutely. Yeah, Advantech, like I mentioned before, is the bread and butter of subfloors in the market. And it's mainly because of the ingredients. It's the ingredients in the panel. What we do is we coat each flake as it's processed at our mill. So each flake of the panel gets that waterproofing. So even if you cut it, and in certain sections you might have to cut it, in water it gets to it, it will restrict that moisture from getting into the panel. So what you get is a strength, stiffness, so you have less likely issues with squeaks. I know upstairs, you have kids upstairs, they'll be walking around, and what you don't want is squeaks. And you don't want callbacks. You don't want to have issues where you've had to replace panels because the edges have swollen so much, or the panels have delaminated, separated from each other. The beautiful thing is, for you, to give you peace of mind, is it's a 500-day no sand guarantee. So we're guaranteeing the panel will not swell for 500 days during the construction process.
Wow.
And actually, you're using our subfloor adhesive, and by using the subfloor adhesive, the Advantech subfloor adhesive, you actually get a squeak-free guarantee for 10 years. So that's guarantee the homeowner that they will get a squeak-free guarantee. And if there's issues, they call me and I come out and help out.
And the warranty on the Advantech itself?
Lifetime.
Lifetime. And transferable.
That's correct.
That's very impressive. That's a lot of good information you
I
gave us
appreciate
today
it.
about Advantech. And if folks want to learn more about zip wall systems, Advantech, and all the Huber companies, what's the best way to get in touch with you, or to find out that information?
Yeah, I would say the best way is huberwood.com. That's H-U-B as in boy, E-R, wood.com. We're also on Instagram. It's huberwood as well. So you can follow some of the builders that we actually work with and see how they're incorporating it into their business. And it's used all over the U.S. and we've grown by leaps and bounds over the last 5 years. And that's what makes it fun, is to educate our builders and our architects and all those folks you talked about earlier. It's always, that's what makes the job fun, and we love working with you guys.
Yeah, I always love working with you. For over the years, you've been great, and thanks for all the help and for coming in and sharing Huber with us.
Oh, we love it. We love to do it.
That's some really good information on zip wall system and Advantech by Huber. And thanks so much to Jason today. And thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, please subscribe. I'm Doug Turner. This is Building Paradise, and we'll see you next episode.